Coming back from this short break, we are talking about policy or policies. But now we are moving into foreign policy. When we talk about foreign policy, can you elaborate on that, Mr. Steinman?
Just before we went for the break, I mentioned the Kunene River, the Baines project, which eventually, if Nampower gets its way, we will have 5 new dams below Swartboysdrift. So it's massive. It's massive. This is not the planning for 10 or 20 years. This is the planning for 50 or even 100 years. So this is very long-term planning. But as I said, that water, we share it with Angola. So it means of all the big schemes that we've got and the planning that we've been doing for 20 years, nothing will come of it unless we have an agreement with the Angolan government. And by implication, if we have an agreement with the Angolan government, we have an agreement with the Angolan people. And this is very important in policy. Policy, you often hear when people or analysts talk about central planning, controlled economy. This is typical your communist style economy that you find in Russia and China and certain Eastern European countries, but also in places like Cuba. Everything is central controlled. It means that there's no bigger, broader policy there. It depends on the whim of a single leader. And the policy for the day is what he feels is important for that particular day. And this is where policy becomes so important. Unless we have an agreement with Angola that will make provision for the next 50 years, you will never see a dam in the Kunene. So this is foreign policy. Somebody, our government, our people in international relations, have to sit down with the Angolan government, as we've been doing for the past 5 years, and we have to agree. How are we going to do this? Where are we going to build those dams? What will happen to the water? And you must remember, the main resource that we are dealing with there is the electricity that we want to generate from the hydroelectric schemes in the Baines dams. The other aspect of that thing is we have to have a policy. How do you accommodate indigenous communities along that river? Because you hear that the Himba and the Dimba, they carry on about ancestral land and holy sites and these are all valid points. But don't think it is not like this on the other side of the river. Exactly the same considerations apply to the communities in southern Angola. Now, Elsaby, how do you get all those people around the table? How do you implement that policy? Do you see? And if you don't implement it, the economy suffers a loss. We have to buy electricity from South Africa or from the Southern African power pool instead of generating it there, where the only condition is we have to keep the indigenous community, their demands in our mind, in our planning, in the way that we execute the policy. But we don't need to, that money stays in Namibia. We generate our own electricity there. We don't need to pay anybody else. The same thing with the Orange River. The Orange River, 60 years ago, when I was a small boy, the Orange River was like the Kavango River. For 8 months of the year, you could walk through it. And then for 4 months of the year, a car couldn't cross it. It was in flood. It was a huge river. That has changed. Today, it is a fairly stable river controlled by a series of 7 very, very large dams that start with dams in Lesotho. So the whole water system in the Orange River is planned and regulated. It's policy that's being executed. And now we sort of get the back end of the Orange River. And let's go for a break, and then when we come back, we look at what we need to do for a fair split of the resource that we call the Orange River, because it's not only ours, a very large part is in South Africa, but never forget, it starts in Lesotho.
Yes, it does. Let's go for that short break.